The next couple of segments, we're going to talk a lot about team roping with a guy who knows an awful lot about what he's talking about. He should. He's got 3 world titles, been to the national finals rodeo 9 times. Wesley Thorp joins us. Wesley, you're competing tonight in San Antonio. We thank you for your time and welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a lot of fun to have a chance to do this and get the insights of those of you that are on the ground and in the arena. This segment, we want to just go back through what's already happened in San Antonio and talk a little bit about the folks that have won a lot of money and have done well. And let's start in bracket number 1 with one of the new teams this year, Jeff Flanagan, who went to the NFR in 2020, and Buddy Hawkins. You're watching them go to work. They were 6-3, won a third, and they were 5 flat, won a first.
Yeah, they did a really good job. So one thing that really stands out are these steers are a little fresher. They've been to a couple of jackpots, but they're not steers that you're used to seeing have a lot of runs on them that really hit, leave out of the gate super consistent and know the drill, right? So, I mean, you got to react as a header. You got to see the start. You got to let the steer make the first move. And then you got to get out in the arena and set the run up. And that's one thing Jeff does a good job is he uses his horse and he doesn't have him on a very long rope normally. He's about a coil or 2 away at the most, and he sets the run up out in the middle of the arena. So that lets him to, his runs are a couple strides further out there, but he's stopping the clock fast. So he's got a lot of forward momentum in the run, and that sets them up for, consistency, number 1, but they're also their time is clocking very well. So that set them up for success in the first 3 rounds.
And that's exactly what you have to do in San Antonio. I mean, it's not necessarily based on being the fastest run every night, but you have to be the consistently the best. Let's talk a little bit about bracket 2. We've got Jake Smith and Douglas Rich. They were extremely consistent and a good team to watch right here.
So these guys they're really good friends for one, and Jake, he left the hillside to go to Hedden a couple years ago, and I've been really impressed at the progress of this team in general. Like they both have a lot of rope handling ability. They both can ride multiple different horses. They can compete in different setups. If they need to catch and go be 9 when it falls apart to get by it, they're not going to mess up. If they need to go fast, they have the capability to go fast. So I mean, they're a pretty wide variety to what they can do in their run, and they're also having fun doing it. They're good friends. They get along good. They're on the same page. So it's kind of cool to see them progressing through their career.
Wesley, we're watching these highlights from San Antonio. That arena is a basketball court. There's another basketball court you guys rope on every year. It's in Las Vegas in December. San Antonio feels bigger. Am I right in saying that?
You are right by saying that. You actually, somehow or another, feels like you have more room. Even though there's not much room, you do. But that left wall, the way the angles are and those panels are shaped up, you actually you don't get caught in that left wall as much as you do at the NFR.
Awesome. So let's talk about bracket number 3. We just watched Jake Smith. Here comes his brother, who happens to be a 2-time world champion, Clay Smith, and Colby Payne, who I've never been able to figure out how you guys kept him out of the NFR for as long as you did. But they make a couple of nice runs here, 5-4, and then they come back with a 3-6.
Yeah, Colby Payne's really coming on strong. He's starting to get his confidence. He's getting tapped off. He's got a nice horse. I mean, he's working his way up the ladder in the ranks for sure, and he's doing a good job and getting some wins everywhere. And Clay Smith, so this roan horse, he's been trying to kind of bring into the picture, and in my mind, he looks easy, but he's been just a touch green, and now he's starting to look not so green. I mean, he's letting him get a good throw right there, crawl out over him, head him, and he's getting him legal, so it's letting him make fast runs when the time comes. So that horse, he's starting to kind of tapped off on that horse, and that team will be fun to watch. I mean, they're a team that can do it in any and all setup.
He's a gin, and that is something I wanted to bring up about this horse as well. We've seen them come through the futurity ranks, and you have been showing in the futurities as well. It's really important to getting these horses going. I mean, this seems to be where they're coming from, to being able to transfer those horse show abilities into the arena. It seems like he's getting this horse on the road pretty well.
Yeah, it is quite a process to season a horse, and I mean, the minute you think they're ready, they're not. I mean, it's a long process. You gotta show them, build their confidence. You gotta win at the level that they're at in the 4 and under and 6 and under, and then you gotta move your way up to the open ranks, and then you gotta make sure you're not putting too much pressure on them and letting them kind of reach their full potential. Well, then there comes a times where they're on the they're in the middle of the fire. They're getting called at the highest level, and it's so easy to make mistakes at this level. And even though it's a high quality horse, they can make mistakes, and this horse is starting to make fewer and fewer mistakes as it goes. So that's a fun thing to get through as a rider, as a trainer, as somebody that has a horse program. I mean, you're ready to get through that to where they're on your team 99% of the time.
And I mean, the horse and rider is definitely just as much of a team as the header and the heeler, and that's something you know a lot about. But we're going to take a quick timeout and talk about bracket 4 when we come back.
Yeah, we'll talk about bracket 4 right now, actually. Then we'll talk about bracket 5 when we come back. Bracket number 4, the story in bracket number 4 is real simple. Destiny Gaskiza and Levi Lord doing Destiny Gaskiza and Levi Lord stuff. 3-6, 3-5. They were close to the arena record a couple of times.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, these guys are definitely intimidating from the outside looking in when you watch them rope. I mean, Dustin, he drew 3 different kinds of steers almost. I mean, he drew a runner, he drew, a slower one. He can float across the line and get it on them from anywhere and then set the run up. So it's like, and Levi did a good job getting around them and healing them fast. But I mean, this is no surprise to this team. I mean, Dustin Gaskiza has proved time and time again that he's got super high percentages in these setups. It's easy for him. He can just do these things that most people can't and make it look so easy. It's like he's playing a different game. It's like they take the barrier off whenever he's up or something. It's like he's getting the hit from the women's tee box. You know what I mean? Like he literally is playing a different game. And it's fun to watch. I mean, he's tapped off, but it's not necessarily fun when it comes down to having to go head-to-head with it.
Yeah, $7,878 for sweeping all 3 rounds in that bracket.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun to watch, and it's fun to have a chance to hear from somebody who knows it from the inside. There's a look at the folks that have advanced, and you'll notice that the only bracket that's not on there is bracket number 5, because that starts tonight, and Wesley's one of the guys that's roping.
Yes, he is. It's going to be a great bracket to watch. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up. This last segment, we had a chance to talk with Wesley Thorp, 3-time world champion team roper, about what we've seen in San Antonio at the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo so far. But, I mean, no one knows that arena better than him at this point, and we're actually going to get to see him a little bit later tonight. But Wesley, let's talk a little bit about the guys that you are up against this afternoon. All right, we're going to kick it off with a family affair. Let's talk about Wyatt and Peyton Bray.
So I've roped with these guys my whole life growing up, really, and they're both very talented. It's 2 brothers roping together, and that's not really an easy dynamic if you think about it. I mean, there's a whole nother level of pressure that relies on that. And, team roping's hard enough as it is, working together and communicating and making a plan. But when you add the brother factor, I mean, that's somebody you grew up with. That's somebody that you're just linked to in a different way. So, I mean, there's always that added pressure of who's more valuable or who's not less valuable, or should I, and they're both, Peyton had a successful outing early on in his career, making the NFR with, a reserve world title and American win. And then Wyatt came onto the scene later, and now he's been progressing at a high rate of speed in the last year and a half. He's really turning it on. So it's kind of cool to see how, at one point you think one's the stronger link and he's probably expecting something better. Well, then now the other one's coming on strong. So now they're kind of molding together. And I think that team has a lot of potential. It's just a matter of working through some of those things, in my opinion, that I think would be just hard to do.
They had a shot at making the NFR last year. They made it to Sioux Falls, but things didn't work out there.
Yeah,
but here they are back roping again.
That's right. I mean, they had a slow year most of the year. They got on a heater towards the end of the last quarter, all the way into Sioux Falls, and I mean, they were 1 or 2 steers difference in making the NFR. So I mean, they do have some momentum on their side as far as the progression of their team. It's just a matter of how they handle it from here.
Andrew Ward and Jake Long are in the field tonight in bracket number 5. This is one of the new teams this year, but both of them NFR average winners. These guys, I got to believe, have got to be a team that's going to draw a lot of attention.
This team is very exciting. This team can put a lot of runs together smoothly and fast at the same time. Andrew has a fast head horse no matter which one he's riding. He always gets out in the middle of the arena, puts him on a short row, keeps them fluid and moving. And Jake Long throws as fast as any healer there's ever been, and he can catch a lot of steers in a row. And Andrew will set them up the same consistently over and over and over again. So this is a team that they have a really, really high catch percentage, but it's also really fast. So I would really, really keep an eye on this team, not only here in San Antonio, but for the entire year, because I think this is a match that could really, they could really move the needle in the team roping world.
You know, speaking of needing a fast horse, we were talking a little bit earlier about the steers that we're going to be seeing in San Antonio tonight and where you need to be on the barrier. Talk to us a little bit about that again.
So the barrier in San Antonio is very short, but these steers haven't been rodeoed on. Like, they've only been to a couple of jackpots. They're still considered fresh. Some aren't leaving quite as true as others. So, but at the same time, some of them are running pretty hard. So I say that you kind of got to have to be on whoa and go at the same time. Like, you want to let the steer make the first move and let them get out, but then you have to be ready or they'll leave you dead in the water. So this is a tricky place for a header because they're all leaving differently, and that first round is going to be even more crucial than the others, because by second, third round you have a better idea of what you're drawing. But when you're in round one, I mean, it's you're guessing what that steer is going to do, and you have to really pay attention to the steer, but you have to be on go at the same time.
Yeah, whoa and go at the same time. Only a great team roping header could pull that one off, I think. Lightning Aguilera roping with Patrick Smith. This is another two-team. Of course, Patrick's a two-time world champion, and I think Lightning lives up to that name every once in a while with the quick headshot, doesn't he?
Yeah, Lightning, he can bring lots of heat. I mean, he's always looking for that fast throw. He's got a really nice horse that lets him do that. And when he gets it on him, he sets the run up pretty good for getting it on him that fast. I mean, he handles the steers pretty well. And Patrick, I mean, he's got a great heel horse. He's really solid. He makes sure he takes a good throw, and he finishes the run well. So, I mean, that's a team that could, they have potential of being as fast as they need to be. And it is a new team that they haven't got, run a whole lot of steers together this year. But they're definitely one that could cause some guys a little bit of a pain throughout this bracket.
I can see that for sure. Now, the next team we're going to talk about, this is Clint Summers and Paul Eves. This is also a new team that could cause a little bit of pain, like you said, I feel like.
Yeah, Clint and Paul, they're winners. They both are going to be riding good horses always. Clint's got a good head horse in these setups. He's got it figured out, too, how to be fast without having to take crazy shots. I mean, you see him get in the middle of the arena, set the run up. Paul's clutch. I mean, he can throw fast. He can go, take a couple swings, finish the run off. He's really solid. If they're at the end of the round in round one, I mean, if they don't have to do anything crazy, they're a team that's just going to capitalize on the situation in front of them. So that's a solid, clutch veteran team right there.
Tell me about being a team roper before we talk about this last team we're going to talk about. Clint's qualified for the NFR both as a header and a heeler. Does that help you? Does that provide you with more knowledge about what the guy on the other side's doing?
So you cut out just a little bit, Steve.
Clint's qualified for the NFR both as a header and a heeler. And I'm just curious how that...
Yeah,
go from there.
Absolutely. I think it gives you a whole perspective of how the run's supposed to set up. So, I mean, when you've heeled at those, conditions, that, hey, I've got to do my job to get it on the steer, and my job's not over yet. I've got to set him up. I've got to take control of this run and give him the best throw possible, because, sometimes if you don't have that perspective of it, it's harder to appreciate that part of the job. So I think it's very crucial that he's got the knowledge at the highest level in both ends.
So the last team we want to show some highlights of and talk about a little bit is the current reigning world champions and the guys that have won the gold buckles for the last 2 years. Oh, yeah, that's you. Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorp, three-time world titleists on the heel side, two on the head side. This has become a very, very solid matchup, hasn't it, Wesley? You guys really meshed together well.
It's been unbelievable. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. We've roped together jackpotting a long time. We have had some success jackpotting in the past, but we really it's just been really a fairy tale type story. I mean, we've roped together 2 years full time and won 2 world championships, went in season leaders once, second once. So, I mean, and have done well at, the short scores, long scores, jackpots. I mean, it's been a really, really good fit. And I think it just aligns with, we're both on the same page so much, inside, outside the arena, and able to make plans. And it's just been really, really fun how it's shaped out.
It certainly seems like it's been fun. I mean, you guys are winning so much already. What a great team. What do you think you can contribute some of the success that you guys have had? I mean, as far as teammates, what is it about the two of you that make you mesh so well?
Well, we put a lot of effort in our horses that fit the situation. And he's got a head horse of the year. He's got another horse that's good for the middle and long setups. He's got 2 other horses that are good backup horses. I've got, a pretty deep string of horses that I can at least feel confident on at different setups and levels. So horsepower has really helped. And then I really would credit a lot of it to, mental game. Like both of us don't let it affect, the losing affect us too much. And we've had, people, it looks like a fairy tale situation from the outside looking in, and it kind of has, but it's also, there's a lot of losing to do throughout the year. I mean, there's nobody that doesn't have a bad quarter, or nobody that doesn't have, drop the ball at a big event or drop the ball in the finals at a big event. There's always those hurdles you have to work through. And I feel like our team has done a good job of letting those go, learning from it. And we can get over it pretty quickly and go on about our day. We don't let it affect our day or our friendship or anything like that. And I know it sounds easy to say and all that, but we really put a lot of effort into the mental side of it and the travel plans and staying the same outside the arena as inside the arena, whether it's good or bad.
Wesley, thank you so much for your time. Good luck tonight in San Antonio. Let's take a look at the teams that will be roping tonight during the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Bracket number 5 kicking off. You see Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorp, the world champions. Wesley, you only got to beat the other guys. You don't have to beat the whole field. That's a tough bunch of other guys you got to beat. We're out of time, but good luck tonight. That is a loaded field of team ropers right there.
Man, it seems like anybody you go up against now has the ability to pull it off. I mean, it's crazy how, competitive the sport's getting, how it's evolving, and there's always a young guy wanting to take your job. So it's very humbling to see the talent and the level of talent that there is and to compete against. And it's kind of hard to understand sometimes how I end up on top, but it's I better not work at it any less. So we'll keep going.
Well, we are going to get into that later this evening. Thank you again for joining us. That was Wesley Thorp. We're going to watch him at San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo later on tonight.